The nightclub pulsed with red and purple lights. Bass thundered through speakers while laughter echoed off mirrored walls. Two young women in expensive evening gowns pressed back against the bar, trapped by four menacing men. One thug sneered with a cold laugh. "The Vera family money won't save you tonight, ladies." Crystal cocktail glasses shattered on the floor. Their eyes trembled with fear. From a dark corner, a man in a worn silver jacket stood up slowly. His hand gently covered his small daughter's shoulders. He stepped forward, his deep voice cutting through the pounding music like a blade. "Back away now." The entire group froze. The two women looked at each other, then instinctively moved behind him, hearts racing wildly. Meet Ethan Ward, 37 years old, single father, Uber driver by day. But his calloused hands and sharp eyes tell a different story. Once he was a military special agent. Now he lives quietly in a small apartment, raising his 9-year-old daughter, Lila. Lila is everything pure in this world. She spends hours drawing with colored pencils, always sketching the same thing. Two dove wings, delicate feathers spreading wide across white paper. She calls them her safe wings and tells her father they'll protect him forever. "Daddy, these wings will keep you safe," she whispers every night, placing her latest drawing on his nightstand. Ethan just smiles and kisses her forehead. If only life were that simple. Tonight started like any other delivery job. Ethan received a pickup request from the exclusive downtown district, a package delivery to Eclipse Nightclub, the most expensive venue in the city, where billionaires' children play and ordinary people serve. He parked his old Honda outside the gleaming entrance. Neon lights reflected off his windshield. Security guards in black suits stood at the door like statues. Ethan grabbed the small package from his passenger seat. Lila's latest drawing was tucked inside his jacket pocket. He always carried one with him, his good luck charm. The moment he approached the entrance, trouble began. "Hold it right there," the head security guard barked. His badge read Marcus, built like a refrigerator with an attitude problem. "This isn't a place for delivery boys." "I have a pickup," Ethan said calmly, showing the package. Marcus laughed, a cruel sound that attracted attention from other guards. "Look at this guy. Thinks he belongs here with the rich kids." More guards gathered around. Their eyes scanned Ethan's worn jacket and old sneakers with obvious disgust. "Uber drivers should use the back entrance," another guard sneered. "With the trash." Ethan remained silent. He'd learned long ago that words often made things worse. He just needed to complete the delivery and get home to Lila. But then one of the thugs noticed something. The corner of Lila's drawing peeked out from Ethan's jacket pocket. Colorful wings on white paper. "What's this?" The thug snatched it before Ethan could react. Ethan's jaw tightened. "Give it back." "Oh, look, the delivery boy carries little kid drawings." The thug held up Lila's artwork, showing the other guards. "How pathetic." They passed the drawing around like it was a joke, laughing, mocking, pointing at the innocent dove wings his daughter had spent hours perfecting. Then the worst thing happened. The thug crumpled Lila's drawing into a ball, right in front of Ethan's eyes. 9 hours of his daughter's love and effort, crushed in seconds. "Oops," the thug grinned, dropping the crumpled paper to the dirty floor. Ethan's fists clenched, every muscle in his body tensed. The old Ethan, the military Ethan, screamed for blood. But the father in him whispered restraint. He had to get home. Lila needed him. Slowly, Ethan bent down and picked up his daughter's ruined artwork. He smoothed it gently, trying to restore the delicate wings. But some damage couldn't be undone. The guards were still laughing when screams echoed from inside the nightclub. Through the glass doors, Ethan saw two young women being cornered by four men near the bar. Their expensive dresses couldn't protect them from hungry predators. The security guards didn't move. They were too busy mocking a father who carried his daughter's drawings. That's when Ethan made his choice. He tucked Lila's crumpled artwork back into his pocket and walked inside. Before everything changed forever, "Tell me where you're watching from." It's strange how 3 simple words can freeze an entire chaotic room. "Back away now." Those 3 words hung in the air like thunder before lightning strikes. The four thugs turned toward Ethan with lazy confidence. They saw what everyone else saw: a delivery driver in a worn jacket. No threat, no problem. "Mind your own business, old man," the leader snarled. "These ladies belong to us tonight." Ethan stepped closer. His voice dropped to a whisper that somehow carried over the pounding music. "I won't ask again." The first thug lunged forward with a wild swing. What happened next took less than 10 seconds. Ethan moved like water flowing around stones. He caught the thug's wrist, twisted it with surgical precision, and sent him crashing into a table of champagne bottles. Glass exploded everywhere. The second attacker came from the left. Ethan ducked under his punch, drove an elbow into his ribs, and watched him crumple to the floor, gasping for air. Two more charged together, thinking numbers would help. Wrong. Ethan grabbed a bar stool with one hand, used it to block the first punch, then swept it low, taking out both men's legs. They hit the ground hard. They didn't get back up. 4 grown men, 10 seconds. Done. The entire nightclub fell silent. Even the DJ stopped the music. Ethan straightened his jacket and looked at the two young women. They stood frozen against the bar, eyes wide with shock and something else. Recognition. These weren't just any wealthy girls having a bad night. These were Camilla and Celeste Vera, the billionaire twins, 25 years old, heirs to a technology empire worth $12 billion. Their faces had been on magazine covers since they were teenagers, but right now they looked like frightened children. "Are you hurt?" Ethan asked gently. Camilla shook her head, unable to speak. Celeste stepped forward, her designer heels crunching on broken glass. That's when she saw it: a tattoo on Ethan's wrist, partially hidden by his jacket sleeve. A broken key, simple black ink on weathered skin. Celeste's hand flew to her mouth. Her knees nearly buckled. "Oh my God," she whispered. "Camilla, look at his wrist." The broken key tattoo. Every member of the elite shadow unit had received the same mark 15 years ago. The special forces team hired to protect the Vera family during the most dangerous time in their lives. When the twins were 10 years old, they had been kidnapped by a rival corporation, held in a warehouse for 3 days. The ransom demand was $50 million and control of Vera Corp's military contracts. The shadow unit had found them. 7 highly trained soldiers led the rescue mission. They extracted both girls from an explosive situation. Literally. The warehouse had been rigged with bombs. According to every newspaper report, every official statement, the entire shadow unit had died in that explosion. Heroes who gave their lives to save 2 little girls. But here stood a man with their mark. Alive. Protecting them again. "You're supposed to be dead," Celeste breathed. Ethan's face remained stone. "You have me confused with someone else." Before anyone could say more, chaos erupted again. Camera phones appeared everywhere. Social media buzzed with videos and photos. Within minutes, hashtags started trending. Joshua Vera twins, rescued delivery driver. Hero, Joshua, who is Ethan Ward. But the spin wasn't favorable. News outlets picked up the story with vicious headlines. Billionaire heiresses need street thug for protection. Vera empire so weak they hire random Uber drivers as bodyguards. Are the Vera twins losing their touch? The humiliation was public and brutal. Meanwhile, little Lila sat at home, watching the news on their small television. She saw her father's face on screen but didn't understand why people were saying mean things about him. She picked up her crayons and started drawing again. Another pair of wings, bigger this time, stronger. Back at the nightclub, security finally arrived to clean up the mess. The 4 thugs were arrested, but damage was done in other ways. Corporate rivals smelled blood in the water. Vera Corp's stock price dropped 3% overnight. Board members started making phone calls. Investors questioned the twins' leadership abilities. If they can't protect themselves at a nightclub, one analyst said on live television, how can they protect a $12 billion company? The twins found themselves defending not just their safety, but their entire empire. Ethan tried to leave quietly. He had a daughter waiting at home. He didn't want any part of this corporate drama. But as he reached the door, Camilla called out, "Wait!" He turned. She held something in her hands. Lila's crumpled drawing. Someone had found it on the floor and brought it to her. "This fell from your jacket," Camilla said softly. "The wings are beautiful." Ethan took the drawing carefully. Even damaged, it still meant everything to him. "My daughter drew it," he said simply. "She has talent," Celeste added, stepping beside her sister. "These wings, they feel familiar somehow." The twins exchanged a meaningful look. 15 years ago, in that dark warehouse, a little girl's voice had whispered about angels with wings coming to save them. They had never forgotten that moment of hope in absolute darkness. Now here was a man with a soldier's tattoo carrying a child's drawing of wings. Coincidence? Or destiny finally completing a circle? At that moment, the room held its breath. A single father said, "Back away now," and two billionaire women realized their childhood savior might be standing right in front of them. If you were there, what would shake you more? Those three cold words that froze four grown men, or the tears in two powerful women's eyes when they recognized their guardian angel? Comment below, because you'll decide which moment lives forever in this story. 3 days after the nightclub incident, Camilla Vera stood outside Ethan's apartment building. Her Bentley looked completely out of place in this working-class neighborhood. She had found his address through private investigators. Money could buy almost any information. Ethan opened the door, unsurprised. "I wondered when you'd show up." "We need to talk," Camilla said. "About 15 years ago." Ethan glanced back into his apartment, where Lila sat at the kitchen table, working on homework. "Not here, not in front of my daughter." They walked to a small park across the street. Children played on swings while parents watched from benches. Normal life continuing as if the world hadn't shifted. Camilla pulled out her phone, showed Ethan an old newspaper clipping she'd saved all these years. "7 heroes died saving us," she said. "That's what every report said. But you're here, alive, with their tattoo." Ethan sat on a park bench looking tired, older than his 37 years. "The past is dead," he said quietly. "I'm just a father now. That's all that matters." "But you are him, aren't you?" Camilla pressed. "You were there that night." Ethan was silent for a long moment. Then he spoke. "Marcus Chen, David Rodriguez, James Thompson, Sarah Mitchell, Kevin Park, Alex Turner." He paused. "My team, my family. They died so 2 little girls could live." Camilla's eyes filled with tears. "And you?" "I got the girls out first, went back for my team. The building collapsed before I reached them." Ethan's voice was flat, emotionless. "I was buried under rubble for 6 hours. When they found me, everyone assumed I was dead too. Sometimes I wish I had been." The flashback hit like lightning. 15 years earlier, a 10-year-old Camilla and Celeste huddled in a dark warehouse. Ropes around their wrists, fear in their hearts. Explosions echoed outside. Gunfire. Shouting. Then a man in black tactical gear burst through the door. His face was painted with camouflage, but his eyes were kind. "Don't be afraid," he said, cutting their ropes. "Angels are watching over you." Little Celeste had whispered, "Do angels have wings?" The soldier smiled, even in that moment of danger. "The best kind do." He carried them both outside as flames consumed the building behind them. His broken key tattoo caught the firelight as he ran. Back in the present, Camilla wiped her eyes. "We never forgot what you said about angels with wings." "Kids believe in fairy tales," Ethan replied. "Adults know better." But before Camilla could respond, her phone exploded with notifications. Emergency board meeting, stock plummeting, crisis. "I have to go," she said. "But this isn't over." At VeraCorp headquarters, chaos reigned. The boardroom was packed with angry investors and hostile board members. Richard Sterling, their biggest corporate rival, had somehow gained 3 board seats through proxy purchases. He stood at the head of the table like a conquering king. "Ladies and gentlemen," Sterling announced, "it's clear the Vera sisters are unfit to lead this company, unable to protect themselves, unable to protect shareholders' interests." Camilla and Celeste entered the room to face a wall of hostile faces. "The nightclub incident proves they're weak," continued Sterling, "hiding behind some random street thug instead of proper security. It's embarrassing." Murmurs of agreement rippled through the room. Sterling pulled out a piece of paper, unfolded it slowly for dramatic effect. It was Lila's drawing, the dove wings. Somehow he'd gotten a copy. This, Sterling held it up mockingly, is what their bodyguard carries around. Children's crayon drawings. Is this the kind of person we want protecting our billion-dollar investments? Laughter erupted around the table. Cruel, cutting laughter that made both sisters' cheeks burn with shame. Maybe we should make this our new company logo, Sterling continued. Vera Corp, protected by crayon drawings from 9-year-olds. More laughter, louder this time. Celeste's hands trembled with rage and humiliation. Everything they'd built, everything they'd worked for, being destroyed by mockery. That's when the boardroom doors opened. Ethan Ward walked in. He wore the same worn jacket from the nightclub, the same old sneakers. But something had changed in his eyes. The room fell silent. Sterling recovered first. "Security! Remove this man immediately." "Let him speak," Camilla said firmly. Ethan walked to the center of the room, took the crumpled drawing from Sterling's hands. "You're right," Ethan said calmly. "This is just a crayon drawing from a 9-year-old girl." Sterling smirked, thinking he'd won. "But this little girl," Ethan continued, his voice growing stronger, "draws these wings every single day. Do you know why?" The room waited. The room? Because 15 years ago, 7 soldiers died protecting 2 children. My daughter draws these wings because she believes they'll keep her father safe. The same way those soldiers kept your CEO safe. Ethan looked directly at Sterling. "You call it embarrassing. I call it hope." He turned to address the entire boardroom. The Vera sisters started the Safe Wings Foundation after their rescue. That foundation has provided trauma counseling for over 50,000 children worldwide. It's funded veteran mental health programs in 47 countries. The room was completely silent now. "Those programs," Ethan's voice cracked slightly, "are the only reason soldiers like me don't eat our guns when we come home broken." Several board members shifted uncomfortably. "So mock the crayon drawing if you want," Ethan said. "But understand this. Those wings represent something you'll never have. The courage to stand between evil and innocence, even when it costs everything." He handed the drawing back to Camilla. "These sisters don't need protection from me. They never did. But I'll be damned if I let anyone destroy what they've built to help people like my daughter." Ethan turned and walked toward the door. "Where are you going?" Celeste called out. "Home," Ethan said without turning around. "To tell my little girl that her wings are flying all over the world now." The boardroom remained frozen in absolute silence long after he left, because sometimes the most powerful words come from the most unlikely voices. And sometimes a single father's love can shame an entire room of billionaires into remembering what really matters. The boardroom remained silent for exactly 3 minutes after Ethan left. Then Camilla Vera stood up. "Mr. Sterling," she said, her voice steady as steel, "you're fired." Sterling's face turned red. "You can't fire me. I own shares. I have board seats." "Check your contracts again," Celeste added, rising beside her sister. "We just invoked the moral turpitude clause, effective immediately." For the first time in their corporate careers, the Vera twins acted with perfect unity. Within 24 hours, everything changed. Camilla called an emergency press conference, not in the sterile corporate headquarters, but in the lobby of the children's hospital that the Safe Wings Foundation had built. Behind her stood a wall displaying thousands of drawings, children's artwork from around the world, all featuring wings. "Ladies and gentlemen," Camilla began, facing a room packed with reporters and cameras, "I want to tell you about a man who saved my life twice." She held up Lila's crumpled drawing, now carefully smoothed and framed. 15 years ago, my sister and I were kidnapped. 7 heroes died rescuing us. The world was told all 7 perished in the explosion. The room buzzed with anticipation. That was a lie designed to protect the one survivor. Ethan Ward didn't just save us once. 3 nights ago, he did it again. Celeste stepped forward. "We're here to announce that Vera Corporation is changing our logo, effective immediately." On the screen behind them, the old corporate logo faded away. In its place appeared Lila's dove wings, simple, pure, powerful. These wings were drawn by a 9-year-old girl named Lila Ward, Camilla continued. Her father carries her drawings because he believes they keep him safe. And he's right. The cameras clicked frantically as reporters realized they were witnessing corporate history. This man spent 15 years believing he failed his team, Celeste said. But he didn't fail. He gave us life. And we used that life to create something beautiful. Camilla's voice grew stronger. The Safe Wings Foundation has helped over 50,000 children. We've funded veteran programs in 47 countries. We've saved lives because someone saved ours. A reporter raised her hand. What about the board's concerns? The stock price? Our stock opened up 12% this morning, Celeste smiled. Turns out investors like companies with actual values. Another reporter. Where is Ethan Ward now? Doing what heroes do, Camilla replied. Taking care of his daughter. Meanwhile, across town, Ethan sat in his Honda outside Lila's school. He'd been watching the press conference on his phone. When Lila climbed into the passenger seat, she was practically bouncing with excitement. Daddy, Daddy, everyone at school saw the news. My drawing is on TV. Ethan smiled, the first genuine smile in years. How do you feel about that, sweetheart? I feel like my wings really can protect people now, Lila said seriously. Not just you. Everyone. That evening, their small apartment was surrounded by news vans and reporters. But Ethan and Lila didn't go outside. Instead, they sat at their kitchen table, and Lila drew new wings. Bigger ones this time. Strong enough for the whole world. The doorbell rang. Ethan opened it to find both Vera's sisters standing in his hallway, looking nervous. We brought dinner, Camilla said, holding up bags from the expensive Italian restaurant downtown. And coloring books, Celeste added, showing art supplies. For Lila. Ethan looked at them for a long moment. Then he stepped aside. She'd like that. Over dinner, Lila peppered the twins with questions about running a company. They answered every single one seriously, as if consulting with a board member. Do you think my wings will help people forever? Lila asked. Forever and always, Camilla promised. When it was time for bed, Lila hugged both sisters. Thank you for making my daddy's friends famous again. After Lila was asleep, the three adults sat on Ethan's small balcony. We owe you everything, Celeste said quietly. You don't owe me anything, Ethan replied. You took your second chance and built something beautiful. That's all any of us can do. Camilla pulled out her phone, showed him the trending hashtags. Nahur's Safe Wings was #1 worldwide. Heroes Never Die was second. Lila Wings of Hope was third. Your daughter's art is being shared by millions of people, she said. Children everywhere are drawing wings now. Ethan looked through the apartment window at Lila sleeping peacefully, her latest drawing on the nightstand. She always believed, he said softly, even when I didn't. The next morning brought more surprises. Ethan's phone rang. The caller ID showed a number he hadn't seen in 15 years. Chen? Ward, you magnificent bastard. I thought you were dead. Marcus Chen, David Rodriguez, James Thompson, Sarah Mitchell, Kevin Park, Alex Turner, all alive, all calling. The explosion had scattered the team across different hospitals. Military bureaucracy had listed them all as KIA. They'd spent 15 years thinking they were the only survivor. Team reunion? Chen asked. Team reunion, Ethan confirmed. But the biggest surprise came that afternoon. A delivery truck pulled up outside Ethan's building. Workers began unloading art supplies. Hundreds of them. Delivery for Lila Ward, the driver said, from the Vera Foundation. The card read, for the artist who gave us wings. Draw the world beautiful. C&C. That evening, Lila sat surrounded by more art supplies than she'd ever imagined. Her small apartment looked like an art store had exploded. What are you going to draw first? Ethan asked. Lila thought carefully, then smiled. Wings for my daddy's friends. They need them too. And she began to draw. 7 pairs of wings this time. 1 for each hero who came home. Because sometimes the most beautiful endings come from the smallest hands. And sometimes crayon drawings really can change the world. 1 month later, the world watched. Celeste stood before global cameras, her voice reaching millions. That father doesn't need glory, But his daughter gave us wings. Today, those wings will protect millions. The screen behind her revealed 50 buildings across 50 countries, all shaped like outstretched wings. The Safe Wings Global Network. $1 billion invested overnight. At home, Lila sat watching TV, eyes wide with wonder. "Daddy, look, my wings flew really far." Ethan knelt beside her, watching buildings that looked like her drawings appear on screen. "They did, sweetheart. They really did. Will they help the sad soldiers like your friends?" "Yes, baby. Everyone who needs safe wings." On screen, children worldwide held up wing drawings. Kids in hospitals, refugee camps, family centers, all inspired by Lila's creation. Veterans in art therapy drew their first assignment. Something that makes you feel safe. Wings. Every single one drew wings. "Daddy, I think your army friends are happy now." Ethan's eyes filled with tears. "I think so too." Lila jumped up excitedly. "I need to draw more wings. Bigger ones." She ran to her art table, overflowing with Vera Foundation supplies, crayons everywhere. Ethan watched his daughter create wing after wing, each one perfect. His phone buzzed. Camilla's text. "Thank you for letting us be part of her story." Ethan typed back, "Thank you for giving her wings a place to fly." Outside their window, the city continued. But somewhere in that city, the first Safe Wings Center opened its doors. Around the world, 49 more did the same. All because a single father said 3 words in a nightclub. All because 2 sisters remembered their guardian angel. All because a little girl believed crayon wings could keep everyone safe. Lila looked up from her latest creation, a wing covering the entire paper. "This one's for the whole world, Daddy." Ethan smiled and kissed her forehead. "It's perfect, sweetheart, just like you." And it was, because sometimes the most powerful protection comes wrapped in innocence and love. There are symbols that don't come from boardrooms, but from small hands holding crayons. A single father, 2 billionaire sisters, and 1 innocent drawing prove that tiny acts of kindness can fly around the entire world. True honor isn't found in camera flashes or headlines. It's found in the moment you choose to stand between danger and innocence. It's found in a father who carries his daughter's art like armor. It's found in wings drawn by love, not designed by corporations. Sometimes the most powerful protection comes wrapped in crayon and childhood dreams. Which moment hit you hardest? When he said, "Back away now"? When the twins recognized their childhood savior? Or when Safe Wings was born from a crumpled drawing? Comment below and tell us which scene gave you chills. And subscribe to Hero Dad Stories for more stories that prove ordinary fathers can freeze entire rooms with 3 simple words. Because every dad deserves to be seen as the hero he already is.